Welcome to Shom Achshav on the Daf. Shir sponsor Lo Nishma Sam Be'ak Shalom Le'abas Yitzchok. We're holding over the Zara Daf Yud Ches. The Gemara in the middle of Amud Aleph brings the terrible story of Reb Chanina ben Tradion. That when he went to visit Yossi ben Kisma, Yossi ben Kisma told him, "How are you teaching Torah? What about the fact that you have this Umar Rishah, the Roimim, that Kishma gave them the Malchus? Kishma wants them to rule the world, and you're going against them and you're learning Torah." And the Gemara tells us that in that conversation, Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion asks Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, "Ma ani lechaya olam haba? Do I get to olam haba or not?" So he asked him, is there any story that happened to you? And he told him that he had Mois Purim that got mixed up with Mois Tzedakah. The money that he had for Sudas Purim got mixed up with Tzedakah and he gave it to the Anim. So he told him, meaning this is a raya that he gets Olam Haba. It's very unclear, this part of the conversation regarding Chai Olam Haba, what exactly is going on over here? And why the story of Mois Purim is the raya that he gets Olam Haba. So we'll learn three explanations to understand this Gemara. Explanation one is the Maharal. The Maharal in Tiferes Yisrael Perkei brings the Rambam. That the Rambam, as we learned it in the end of Maseches Makkos, learns that one needs to do at least one good mitzvah in a perfect way. And if one does not do at least one mitzvah perfectly, he doesn't get Olam Haba. And he brings a raya from our Gemara that was the question. Do you have a mitzvah you did perfectly? And I'll tell you if you're going to Olam Haba. That's what the Rambam learns our Gemara. Says the Maharal disagrees. The Maharal says there's no such thing. The one mitzvah gives you Olam Haba. We spoke about it in length in the end of Maseches Makkos. So the Maharal goes on to say, what's going on by us? Reb Chanina ben Tradion is asking, is there any sign that I deserve Olam Haba? You connect here, we spoke at Perek Chelek, that there is a Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelek L'Olam Haba. But there is such a thing called Ben Olam Haba. Ben Olam Haba is a different level. So Chanina ben Tradion is asking, am I a Ben Olam Haba? Do I have that level of Shaykhs to Olam Haba? So tells him Yossi ben Kisma, tell me a mice that came to you, and I'll try to see if there's a sign Mishamayim that tells you that you belong to Olam Haba. So Chanina ben Tradion brings in the story of Mois Purim. And that is the sign that he's Ben Olam Haba. Explains the Maharal, why is that so? Says the Maharal, Purim, what's unique about Purim? Purim is a day which is kuli vochtik, which means it's kuloi chulin. There's no gedusha on the day of Purim, aliba, the basic halacha. Purim, you eat and you drink and you get drunk. There's no gedusha, there's no isur melacha, there's no yomtev. It's a day of gashmius. Now we know the Be'oimik, that's the idea of Purim, that you take all the gashmi and you make that also connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But at the end of the day, Purim is a day of gashmi. Tzedakah, says the Maharal, is the exact opposite. Tzedakah means something that is kuloi ruchni, it's 100% spiritual. Because the anim, they don't belong to this world. They're suffering in this world. They belong to a different world. And mois that belong to them belong to some place which is not this world. If Chanina ben Tradion has the money of Purim get mixed up with the money of tzedakah, and everything goes to tzedakah, that means he takes in his entire Olam Hazeh and brings that to Olam Haba. He takes his entire Olam Hazeh and elevates it to a higher sphere. So it says of Yossi ben Kisma, if I see this is the sign Mishamayim that you're a Ben Olam Haba, you know what's the sign that you're Ben Olam Haba? Because all the things that are Gashmi, the spirit, the most physical thing in the world, Purim, you also turn that to be Moasanim. It also turned to be belonging to the poor, meaning belonging to a place which is beyond this world. That means in this world, you don't really belong to this world. You belong to a higher world. You are a Ben Olam Haba. The Baal HaTanya, in Ma'amor Admor HaZoken, Yir Taf Kuf Samachtes, he brings another mahalach. And he says like this. Whenever a person does something, sometimes people do things because that's what their nature is. Normally, that's what they do. That's how they were born. So you don't get such big reward. You don't belong to such a high milo if you do what's natural for you. So the Baal HaTanya says like this. Reb Chanina ben Tradion was a tremendous maspid. He was willing to sacrifice everything to learn Torah. So he asked Reb Yossi ben Kisma, do I really get full reward for it? Is this considered to be a full sacrifice? Or maybe not. Maybe that's his nature. Maybe that's his normal way of being. So you don't get full reward for that. So ask Yossi ben Kisma, tell me a mice that came to your hand. Says the Baal Tanya, usually people that are big masmidim, they're sheikhet bilimudoy, the natural way they are stingy. He explains they have a norish chara, they're sad, and they're very constrained. They don't give out money so easily. So the story of Moris Purim was, of Tradion showed that naturally he's not stingy at all. He gives money to the anim. He had Moris Purim that got mixed up. He gave that to anim too. It shows that's his nature. So you made the fact that he's learning Torah with such zveikus is going against his nature. So he's getting full reward. Tells him, Yossi Kisma, you're going to get Chayalim Abo. I want to be with you. And finally, we'll learn the pshat of the Avoda of Shlomo Kluger over here. And he says, Davar Nifla Moed, he says like this. We know, Yadua, that someone who commits suicide, Ein Lo Chelek L'Olam Habo. Says everybody wants to know what is the source of this concept. Is there any source to it? So he says the source is our Gemara. And this is Rav Chanina ben Tradion was asking Yossi ben Kisma. He says, I'm learning Torah, and I'm willing to sacrifice everything for Torah, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe learning Torah with such sacrifice is considered to be committing suicide. So maybe I won't get Chai Olam Haba. Because someone who commits suicide doesn't get Olam Haba. So he says a very big chiddush. He says somebody who is willing to give up his money, which he owns, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he can give up his nefesh, his neshama too for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He can give up his body for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Someone who is not so easily giving up his money for mitzvahs, so he also cannot give up his body for HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. He has to be consistent. So that's what Rav Yossi ben Kisma asked him. Give me a story. Story was he had Moshe Purim, he gave it to tzedakah. That means he's giving up on his money for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, if so, you are allowed to kill yourself for HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well, and mainly you do have a chelek l'olam habo. These are three gevaldik explanations in the mahalach of this discussion. Anyone who wants to join the Shomachshava email list to WhatsApp, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.